this code sample, what we're doing is we are looking at a map container. So do remember that a map has a key and it has some data associated with that. Remember also that in a map, the keys are unique. They are not repeated. So that's the first thing here before we get into the rest of the code. So what we have here is we are using the vector class. You can see the vector container class is right here on line number 3, and we have here 4 vectors. Each of those is representative of a student's test scores. Here on line number 16 is where we see the map container. Remember, again, these map containers are contiguous. Something to remember. And that our map contains a string and a vector of integers, and we're calling that test scores. So each one of our test scores, student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, we've got associated with the key, which is essentially what the student name is. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this. There we go. Now, the additional wrinkle here I forgot about, and it's a good thing that I ran it because then I remembered, is the idea of first and second. So each map element contains a first item and a second item. The first one being, in this case, the key, the names, and the second one being their scores. So you can see here in our for loop, and again, we are relying on auto, which by now I think I've talked about enough that I'm not going to repeat it here. So test scores, and that is, remember that test scores is a map container. So element is what we're returning from our map container. Dot first is their names, and here dot second is their scores. So this turns out to work really, really great. Now, the other thing I'm just going to show here, we're going to comment this out, and we're going to comment this one in. So here in the second demo for this, I guess, we're just doing it all as one component as opposed to declaring our vectors first and then adding them to our map. Here we are putting them together. So we've got our declaration of our map. We're calling it test scores. It contains a string and a vector of integers. There's my key. So that's the string, 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 and here's my vector, vector, vector. And other than that, it really hasn't changed. So one of them was declaration, then assignment, and this one is declaration and assignment right there together.